Good morning, everybody, and thank you for being here for the monthly update of the Hedge Invest Newman Credit Fund from lockdown London. Month of March was quite volatile, obviously. We basically had very high gains from our macro strategy with almost 10% on most of the shorts that we established. And we crystallized most of them. We took them off towards the end of the month. Fortunately, some of that was before the ECB conference call, hoping for a big plan to be announced. Unfortunately, that wasn't announced straight away then, but after a few days, and that cost us probably 1.5 point in terms of performance as we closed the short a bit too early and restating them later. But in any case, we closed most of the shorts and crystallized them, avoiding then the painful squeeze that we've seen towards the end of the month and beginning of April. We kept only the big shorts we have in emerging markets. We think it's going to be a major crowding out of investments. We have every country in the world now that need massive amount of financing, which far exceeds the amount of buying from central banks as of now. As we said many times in the past, we think that would put emerging market in a very difficult situation to fundraise. Most of those countries that were short, whether it's Turkey, South Africa, Brazil, China itself, they are problematic. They have their own issues. They have balance of payments issues, and they're going to have funding issues going forward. So we remain short emerging market, but we close most of the shorts, actually, if not all, on the equity side and credit. We position the book on the long side now, most of the credit investment grade. A lot of the position we had during the month, we dropped like in excess of the 10% we made on macro. We dropped them on remarking down position we really like. Names like Dish, names like Oil Brazil, names like Virgin Media, all names of essential sectors, especially going forward. We think telecom will be the sector, the safest haven that we're going to have, and it's going to be true for credit, but also probably for equity. So we marked down those positions. We kept them all within this massive upside on some of the positions we have, like double up from the levels we're in now. And we like them, and if anything, we add into those because we know those are the essential sector on one side. On the other side, the central banks are buying their bonds, and is the one thing that will make the economy going and still function going forward is still going to be the telecom sector, telecom, broadband, everybody working remotely, as we all personally experiencing right now. So we remain extremely bullish there. We have big position, and we think those are the ones to add, where we can actually double up over the next 3 to 9 months. Overall, the book is recovering quite nicely in April, so we're up for the year, a couple of percentage, and we like the position we go now. We remain very opportunistic on the rest. We have quite a few capital structure trades where we have put option on the equity on names we really dislike, like WeWork, Wirecard, names where we think there's a lot of downside potential coming from there. Overall, as I said, we like investment grade. We like telecom, particularly now. We are very cautious on banks. We had some small position which we hedged with equity, and now we closed the equity short, and we keep in some of those banks, but probably getting out soon. We think banks are much stronger now, much more capitalized, but the reality is they are structured in a way that if there is a capital need, the government doesn't need to fill it up. The government has already prepared all the provision contractually, regularly, to just effectively equitize most of the bonds. Away from that, on the macro side, we really think the next game is going to be rates going up because of inflation disruption, for supply chain disruptions, global trade near collapse. We think China will be blamed for the virus. There'll be a lot of global trade tensions, and secondly, we'll have plenty of supply. It's particularly interesting to see what's going to happen in Europe, what the ECB is going to do, if there is an ECM line, if that's going to trigger OMT, if that is going to trigger, more activity from the ECB. That's very, very important. Overall, we remain positive periphery, although we are very lightly positioned. We think there's going to be plenty of more ECB plans and activity going forward. And we think, irrespective of whatever we're hearing on reading on the press, we think we are slowly but strongly going towards a more de facto fiscal union. And the end game will be that cancellation, that jubilee of the holdings of national central banks. It'll happen in a few years' time or earlier if the situation gets worse. Overall, we're very positive on the virus, the battle. We think it will be won. There are billions of dollars and mines at work, so I think it will work, but it will be very, very volatile. Overall, we're more constructive here after the sell-off, but we're very cautious and very opportunistic. Thank you very much.